Thank you so much to Opera for sponsoring today's video. It's just so beautiful, so amazing, so wonderful. The book was published in 2001. Some of the stuff is still relevant today in 2022. I really like investigative thrillers. The whole story was just one that is actually a remix of a classic. Hey besties, it's Joel, and today I'm going to be going over my top favourite books that I read in the months of April and May, because I read 35 books in the past 2 months, and yeah, trying to do a wrap up of all of those books would probably take me way too long, and so I thought, why not give you the cream of the crop, the pinnacle on the cake, the diamonds that I found throughout reading this, so I can have you add them to your TBRs, because there have been so many comments from people about me influencing their TBRs, and you know, I'm not exactly mad about that because I'm giving you some really good books to read. I hope you're all doing very well and that you're looking after yourselves. If you've yet to grab that drink of water, please do so. We must remain well and hydrated, and if you've yet to check out my Instagram nor my Twitter, I would highly recommend you go and do that as well, because I post some extra bookish content that you're not gonna see here. Before we get into everything for today's video, I really want to say a massive thank you, as recently we hit 90,000 subscribers on this channel, and like, I never thought we would probably hit this milestone. Like, it's weird. I feel like 100k is literally on the horizon now, and we're getting there, and it's just so weird to think about because I just talk about books in my bedroom. Just seeing the amount of people who love my content and just love seeing the different things that I do, it's just been amazing, and it really validates my ADHD, because this brain, like, the creativity, fully much down to the amount of times I get distracted by things and like go on weird tangents and stuff. Honestly, I just can't wait to continue making more content, trying ways to like amp up the ante, you know, like I want to start going on to TikTok and creating some content over there. Eventually I want to start Twitch and start like doing live streaming and like video games and stuff, because that's definitely a massive part of my life as well. I can go into like other avenues as well and see what they have to hold. Like, I know some people are doing Patreon. I don't know if I would do that, but maybe. There's just a massive like amount of things that we can do in the future, and you know, this is only the beginning. Strangely enough, I have been here for like almost 2 years now, which is weird to think about because it literally feels like yesterday that I was standing with a tripod with my phone and a mirror behind it filming videos and being stressed because I didn't have a proper editing software. And I just thank you all for your support and your like kind words and your affirmations and your reassurance, and it just means a lot to me. Now that we've celebrated 90,000 subscribers, as such with my wrap-ups, I go through what I'm currently reading, what I'm currently watching, what I'm currently gaming, and also I'm going to be giving you a tool that I'm currently using today as well. And so for what I'm currently reading, I'm about to start The Book Eaters by Sun Yi Dean. This comes out in September 2022, and this is basically about a family that eat books. The mother eats stories, but then she finds out that her child would rather decide to feast on human minds. I'm really excited to read this. I remember DMing Harper Voyager being like, hi, I just saw this arc, can I have it? And they were like, it's on the way. And so I am very happy and lucky to have this. And it's a very short book as well, and so I know I'm gonna fly through this very quickly. Probably before the end of May. I am recording this like the day before the end of May, and so maybe I'll finish it before then, or maybe I'll just finish it on June 1st so that I can include it in my June wrap-up. And then the other book that I'll then be diving into after The Book Eaters is The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arafi, and this one is the opposite of The Book Eaters, where it's literally massive. It is a tome. It's 614 pages. I feel like it's gonna be a very good read. I've just heard a lot of good things from some of my friends who have already read it, and so I'm very much excited for this. Okay, so that's what I'm currently reading. For what I'm currently watching, I just finished Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1. Wow, that was a mouthful. I really liked it, although Jamie Campbell Bower, I saw his face and I was just like, Jace Wayland? Jace Wayland? And yeah, that completely took over my mind for like the majority of Season 4. However, like Max, Nancy, Robin, and Eleven were truly the MVPs of this Volume 1. Just seeing the journey that a lot of these characters have gone through throughout the season and uncovering the mystery of Vecna has been iconic, and I definitely feel inspired by the season as well in certain ways. But I've also been watching Season 1 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. This one I very much enjoy. I actually like it, I think, better than Discovery and Picard. I love the kind of like return to old Trek, but then also incorporating a bit of new Trek in there as well. Kind of gives me that Star Trek TNG feels, but then also modernizing it for a new audience. And Anson Mount as Captain Pike is literally, he is like attractive, but then also very charismatic, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. And then also Ethan Peck as Spock. this is what I watched the show for, kind of. But yeah, it's just been a great season so far, and I cannot wait to see where it goes through in future episodes. But then also, I will also be starting Kenobi soon, because I know a few of you have DM'd me over on Instagram about whether I'm going to be starting Kenobi. I was waiting until I finished Stranger Things 4, and now that I've finished it, I can definitely start watching Kenobi, and I'm very, very much excited for that. I've seen one screenshot that kind of did spoil something for me, but also it's not that bad, and I'm very excited. Very much excited. But yeah, so that's basically what I'm currently watching. For what I'm currently gaming, I am kind of going in and out of Elden Ring at the moment. I'm just like exploring and doing some bosses and stuff. I haven't actually finished the game yet. Oh, you know, I should probably get to like New Game Plus and all that, but I'm just having fun, okay? But then I'm also wanting to return to like Stardew Valley soon, because I'm just in the mood for like a stress-free game, feeling like the calmness and the vibes and just farming. I love farming. Like I did it on Minecraft. I just love the farming aspect of things and like growing food. Like if I ever stream, I will probably stream Stardew Valley for like one day a week, because it just feels like it would be such a great time, and just like getting to chat with people. Maybe I'll even install mods if I play from my PC, and we can have like modded crops as well. Ooh, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. But also, from watching Stranger Things, I definitely want to start playing Dead by Daylight again on the Nintendo Switch. However, the Stranger Things Dead by Daylight content isn't on there anymore, which makes me very sad. But I mean, the essence of the game is still there, so maybe I can still play it. Although I can't remember if I got Nancy and Steve as characters or not. I hope I did, because then I can still play as them when I play the game. But yeah, so that's basically what I've currently been gaming. But for what I've currently been using as a tool, this is where the sponsor of today's video, Opera, comes in. Opera is a free browser for any device, allowing for faster, distraction-free browsing with its integrated ad blocker. It's quickly become my dedicated browser for both my MacBook and my gaming laptop, as it has so many features that's in one space, and it makes it easier to access everything. Aside from the integrated ad blocker, Opera actually has Twitter and Instagram built into the app as well, which means that I can open either app and browse and communicate all to my heart's content and easily move it aside when I'm done. Plus, if I want to listen to some music as well, Opera actually has an integrated music player which I can link my Spotify to and just listen to as many songs as I want to whilst I study. I mean, I'm mostly going to be listening to This Hell by Rina Sawayama, but I should probably also start developing a study playlist. And it also gives you the option to create a multitude of workspaces as well. So if I want to switch from casual browsing to uni work, I can really easily do that and have all of my tabs grouped in one place, which means that I'm not distracted by the massive amount of tabs that ever so grows when I'm doing uni work. Also, I can just get rid of it so I'm not reminded of my constant deadlines. Another thing that's pretty cool as well is that Opera gives you the option to pop out any video from the browser. So for example, if you're watching this video or a booktube video, then you can pop it out and open up Goodreads or Storygraph in order to note down all of the books that are mentioned. But finally, one of the best features is the pin board. You can use it to create a mood board, a research snippet list, or even a list for all of the books that you need to look up later. As you can see, I've already made one for my master's dissertation, which I've been using to plan out kind of like the books I need to read, the articles I need to check out. And so if you'd like to add Opera as the perfect addition to your workspace, then I'll have a link in my description which you can use to download it for free. And so yeah, Opera is basically the tool that I've currently been using to make my life a little easier whilst I'm browsing the internet. But now we can get on to all of my favorite books that I've read in the past 2 months. Okay, so the first book that I read in the past 2 months, which quickly became one of my favorites, is probably no surprise to anyone, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This book is literally a masterclass on science fantasy and just writing as a whole. It's just so beautiful, so amazing, so wonderful. I read this as part of the Late Night Book Club, but I also read books 2 and 3 for a vlog that I did on my channel. I would highly recommend you go check that out because it is amazing. It is a very cool vlog, and I have all of my reactions there as well. And oh, this is just such an amazing book and probably one of my new favorite books of all time. This basically follows Asen, who comes home to discover that her son has been killed and her husband has kidnapped her daughter as a 5th season begins again, which is basically these seasons that cause like catastrophe and calamity towards the world. Asen basically has become resolute in rescuing her daughter, and she might have to like kill her husband in order to like find her, but also she will tear apart the entire world if it means that she can find her daughter. It takes place with 3 different perspectives, with Asen, Sinai, and Demaya. The whole story is just phenomenal and amazing, and it's just so subtle as well, because there's subtle details that you don't think mean much at the time, but then you realize as you start piecing things together the greater mystery that's going on here. It was just such an amazing book, and I would highly recommend this, but I would also love to see a special edition of the 5th season coming soon. You know, I need one. I must have one. The next book that I read that then became one of my favorites was A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin. This book, this was a sci-fi that I went on a blind book date with. The paperback version anyway. I decided to buy the hardcover after reading this book, and it's just got this amazing like sand-colored hardback. I also bought book 2, but book 2 is like not the same version as this book. Now I have 2 different hardcover versions. I don't know how to feel about that, so I need to either get book 2 in the US edition or book 1 in the UK hardcover so they can match. That's a conundrum I'm currently dealing with. So A Memory Called Empire basically follows Ambassador Mahit Dasma, who travels to the capital of the Tex-Kalani Empire in order to kind of investigate the circumstances surrounding her predecessor's death. He's died under mysterious circumstances and not many people know exactly why, but Mahit suspects foul play, and she has to navigate the core intrigue of the Tex-Kalani Empire whilst also hiding her own technological secret. One that may, like, you know, destroy the home that she comes from and destroy her way of life, or rescue it from annihilation. And so this book was amazing. I loved Mahit as a character and just the side characters within this as well, like 3 Seagrass, like an iconic character as well, and there's just like so many moments in this book that were just so amazing to read, and the core intrigue and the political intrigue were just fascinating to read about, and just seeing like the motivations for certain things and just seeing why certain people do certain actions. It was just vastly interesting. I loved Martin's writing. I thought it was just like so cool and so beautiful, and I love also the fact that there is like in-universe quotations for each and every chapter, because it just enriches the world that we're in and just makes everything so much more fascinating to experience. And the audiobook that I read alongside this as well was amazing, and so I would highly recommend that as well. And I'm very much excited going on to A Desolation Called Peace, which is the sequel. I'm really excited to carry on. The next favorite book that I read was during the Isaac Henderson video, and that is Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman. This has always been one of my favorite books, so I'm really excited to be able to discuss it once again. And so Noughts and Crosses basically follows Sephi and Callum, taking place in this alternate historical society where black people, or crosses, are actually in the place of superiority, whilst noughts, or white people, are the oppressed. And this book really takes the kind of associations and does flip them. It shows the world is a lot more grey than we initially believe. It's just very intriguing to read this book, especially seeing how this book was published in 2001 and seeing how some of the stuff is still relevant today in 2022, like 21 years later. It's interesting, it's intriguing, but then also so emotional at the same time, as we truly get to see kind of the friendships and relationships that are broken apart because of racism, and just the way racism can truly be a poison to society. But also the way that this book ended, I know I talked about this in my Isaac video, but also the way that this book ended was unforgivable. If this book ended up being a standalone, it would have hurt a lot more. It would have been unsatisfying in a way, but I guess that's kind of the point. Overall, really amazing book. Would highly recommend it, and it's just been great. You'll be pleased to know that there is manga on this list, as well as, like a lot of people know, this is probably going to be a manga era for this channel, and just me reading a lot more manga, and it's going to be exciting. But the first one, Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto, and I love Naruto. I just found that the first like 4 volumes that I read of Naruto so far were just amazing, and I found myself really drawn into the story, the world of the ninjas, and just seeing Naruto wanting to become the next Hokage, and just learning to work as a team with his teammates Sakura and Sasuke. And yeah, it was just amazing and like enjoyable to read, and the art style was just super gorgeous, and I love just the different things that I got. I just think overall it was just an amazing read, and I cannot wait to continue on with the rest of the manga soon. I would have kept going in order, however, I feel like now is the perfect time to also mention that I loved One Piece by Ichiro Oda. Again, and another amazing start to a manga series. I just found that Luffy's like whole story with wanting to become like the greatest pirate and sailing to go find the One Piece was just outstanding. I think both stories are building up to be quite like really nice like found family aspects in their own respective ways. Both stories were able to deliver such a funny but also serious at points, but then also intriguing narratives that distinctly set themselves apart as well, whilst also having certain similarities that I just found it to be so cool, and I can't wait to continue on with both of them and just see what they have to offer next. Yeah, maybe I'll do like a whole dedicated manga reading vlog, because I definitely know I want to do one with like manga, graphic novels, and webtoons, and just have like 2 or 3 of each in the video. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna like do that or plan that out yet. I think it'd be pretty cool if I did something something like that. The next book I'll then mention is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This one was just phenomenal for me. I really like certain types of thrillers, maybe like investigative thrillers, if you will. And I just found that Pippa throughout this story was just amazing, especially as she like continues to like do like certain bits of the investigation and going through and just having this kind of like investigative mindset throughout her EPQ. Like, she's doing this for a school project. I mean, I did guess the killer quite early on in the book, however, I didn't guess the final twist. It wasn't strictly this one thing, and I really enjoyed that. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder basically follows Pippa Fitzamobi as for her school project, she decides to investigate the mystery surrounding Andy Bell and her death, everyone believing that it's Sal Singh who killed her. However, Andy doesn't think that is the case. Along with Sal's brother Ravi, both of them will start to uncover more and more mysteries surrounding the death of Andy Bell and maybe discover who truly killed her. Yeah, I just love the way this book was told. It basically goes between like prose, but then recordings of conversations that Pippa holds for her EPQ and then her notes. The audiobook, again, really does this well because they really have like the audio staticky sounds when they're doing like the recordings. There's a lot more atmosphere with the audiobook, and I would highly recommend checking that out as well. This book was great, and I know a lot of people really want me to read books 2 and 3, and I definitely think I will try and do that at some point soon, but also my TBR is getting a bit out of hand now. So I either need to like grow a separate body that can read all of the books for me and we share a hive mind, or figure out some way to like read a lot of books at once. But overall, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was just a great book and I enjoyed it. The penultimate book that I then want to talk about is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Basically, Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen in general have been something that I've been able to avoid for a while, but Isaac read Pride and Prejudice, and so I finally got around to reading this book. And I know in Isaac's video I go into a whole little video essay about like Regency England and the society at the time and why it made sense for like these women to be so focused on marriage, but I loved this book. It was really good. Just the way that Darcy and Lizzie would like interact throughout this, I found fascinating. Again, there were like a few essays that I could write about Pride and Prejudice. There's just so much about it. And there's definitely a lot that you can write in terms of like a retelling as well with Pride and Prejudice. And the whole story was just, good. Very good. And I love the fact that it's like a comedy as well, like a comedy of manners, because Jane Austen is very much inspired by Fanny Burney, who wrote Evelina, who is one of my favorite 18th century writers. I love that. I love the intertextuality of like 18th century and 19th century literature. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, amazing. Maybe I'll do a read and ranked on Jane Austen. I know I was planning to do one, but I had to like put a pause on it. I definitely want to do it at some point, but I have to do like 2 other read and ranks before I get to Jane Austen. And so we'll see what happens with this someday. And then the final favorite book that I want to mention is one that is actually a remix of a classic, and that is A Clash of Steel by C.B. Lee, which is a remix of Treasure Island. And this one I vastly loved because I just really liked this interpretation of Zheng Yishao or Madame Qing, and just seeing the way that Zhang has like gone through this entire book, just like questioning where she belongs, where she wants to be, who she wants to be, and just seeing the kind of interactions that she has with various people in this novel, like An and the members of the Huinvu. And I really loved the kind of community that we got in this book, seeing the different interactions that we have, and especially the relationship growing between Zhang and An as well, as this like a very amazing like sapphic relationship. I really feel like it nails the themes of Treasure Island really well, and especially comparing it to Treasure Island, and that's why I feel like it's slightly better than Treasure Island, because it really hits the nail on those themes really well. Although Treasure Island is also quite a great book in and of itself. I just loved the time that I spent in this, and also the links to history and just seeing everything that it had to offer. And yeah, it was just an amazing book, and I'm very much excited to check out more stuff by C.B. Lee in the future. And so yeah, overall, these are all of the books that I loved in the past 2 months, and that I think you should add to your TBRs and read quite soon. Today has just been a very nice like little chat, and yeah, I just think like all of these books are amazing, and I'm excited to see what books I read in the month of June. I mean, The Book Eaters, The Final Strife, the late night book club pick for the month of June, which is The Phantom of the Opera. I've got a few books that I want to read before I go to Yelk in July. I hope you've had such a great time. I've had an amazing time discussing everything with you today. Again, a massive thank you to Opera for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to use the link in my description to check out the Opera browser for free. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button so you're notified whenever I upload next. And I'll have all my social medias in the description down below for you, so you can follow me on every single other platform. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where else fast this channel goes, and when we reach 100k, maybe you can let me know in the comment section what I should do to celebrate. And so yeah, I guess until the next time. Bye, besties.